Hey, good morning. It's Donald and Mary, and we're here to bring you your morning weather, water, and trail chatter report. And so this morning's Mary's going to start with some water and weather, and then after we'll move on to the trail chatter. All right.
Thank you, Donald. You're welcome. All right, good morning, everybody. Right now in Blairsville, it is 66 degrees. We got a little bit of haze, but it's clearing up. We're looking at a high of 87 degrees today, sunny early, and then increasing clouds this afternoon with a possibility of some showers. There is a 40% chance of rain. And then tonight, 63 degrees, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible early. Some clouds this evening will give way to mainly clear skies overnight. And then up on Blood Mountain today, we're looking at a high of 79, dropping to 75 degrees later on this afternoon. It will be sunny with 5 to 10 mile per hour winds. And then tonight, 64 degrees, mostly clear, and the winds will be 5 to 10 miles per hour. Water's good on the trail right now. Make sure you top off at Hawk Mountain Shelter and at Slaughter Creek before you climb Blood Mountain if you're heading north. All right, right now, I'm going to turn this over to Donald. We're going to talk about some other stuff we have going on out here.
All right. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right, sweet. And so I was reading this morning, man, and came across a 38-year-old aspiring thru hiker that was found dead or drowned in a Front Royal hotel room, or excuse me, hotel pool. And so they found him. There was a drowning victim. They rescued him. I guess he didn't die till the next morning. They don't know exactly the cause of him drowning. Possibly another issue going on medically, maybe a heart attack or a stroke or something. So, but he did. He passed away.
That's too sad.
It is. And so his name is Michael Anthony Glass of Dayton, Ohio. They found him about 10 p.m. last night. And did you already get this stuff
I
here?
did not talk about that yet.
Okay. All right. And so let's talk about the closures we have going on in the Great Smoky Mountains. So we have Peck's Corner, and then campsites 49, 90, 13, and 23. And then we have bear warnings at Charlie's Bunyan. Campsites 21, 86, 15, 64, and 65 they all have bear warnings. Just because these shelters are now open does not mean there are not bear out there. Please practice L&T. Snakes are at Cow Rock. They're hanging out under the rock that's in the middle of the lookout area. There's a big granite piece there, man. Those snakes are literally in the middle with the rock that's in the middle, under the rock. They're nested up under there. All right, and so for rescues in Kamloops, a hiker in the Tranquil Slot Canyons and Lac du Bois grasslands was rescued in Canada, on Canada Day after overheating. KSAR said it was called by the RC Rocky Mountain.
I'm not quite sure what RCMP stands for. They did not.
So the RCMP to find and evacuate the hiker at around 4:30 p.m. on July 1st. KSAR provided treatment to the hiker by improvising a rapid cooling system using a tarp, cold water, and ice cubes. Wow, it must be hot up there, man, huh?
You'll see as we go along.
They credit the hiker for knowing when to ask for help and not pushing to the point, making the rescue more critical and difficult. KSAR notes temps ranged from 95 to 100 degrees during this rescue. Crews helped the hiker make her way back up the canyon to her family. Wow, it's
Very hot.
yeah, definitely, man. So safety measures, temperatures are high. Hydrate, proper clothing, shade. Try not to be out in the heat of the day, which is usually midday to 5 p.m., 6 p.m. when it starts to cool off a little. We have another rescue in Tucson, Arizona. 4 people and a dog had to be rescued from the Santa Cruz River near Prince Road Thursday, July 3rd. The rescue happened as storms rolled through the area. The Tucson Fire Department received a swift water rescue call at 2:47 p.m. and crews were on scene 3 minutes later. They were stranded on the islands in the middle of the river. They formed a wedge formation to walk into the river, which was above the knee and moving fast. All were brought to safety. No injuries reported. I read something like that.
You know, just where they say the water was above the knee and moving fast, that shows, even though I don't really think above the knee is all that deep,
Yeah.
it shows you like where the fast rolling water doesn't have to be, neck high or anything. It can be
Right, it can-
pretty low and still be a danger to you.
Well, it can wipe you out, sweep you off your feet, man. Just take your legs out from underneath you, man, and then you're going downstream, which been in that situation. So next, we have hiker airlifted off the Appalachian Trail in Maine after injuring their leg. Franklin Search and Rescue took to the trail near East Madrid Monday evening to help wardens from the State Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife and firefighters from the Phillips, Kingfield, and Rangeley to evacuate the hiker. Speaking of one of those spots, it was on the Dead River where I got kind of swept away from knee-high water, and that's right up in this area. So because it was getting quickly dark and the terrain was difficult, wardens called Maine Forest Rangers for a helicopter rescue. So the rescuers cleared a space for the helicopter to land. The crew got the hiker, who was safely airlifted to a waiting ambulance and brought to a local hospital, according to Franklin SAR. All right, so lots of rescues going on. There's a lot of stuff going on.
It is. It's hot outside. There's a lot of storms that are bringing high waters, so we're having rescues in all of those. You get people going up to the high elevations, having problems with adjusting to that. So all around, I think whatever we're doing outside to recreate, we need to be cautious and prepared for those situations. And we always need to remember to be able to self-rescue if possible and bring the proper items with us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, definitely. And knowing when to, where your limits are and when to say, I'm not prepared to do this next step or whatever the hike is, man. I was actually talking to Scott, the dude when you got pulled into the SAS going on down there. Remember Scott?
Yes, I do.
So he called last night after his hike, and he was telling me as he was going down the approach trail to his vehicle back, because they hiked back to their car south, and so he told me that he saw numerous people that were walking up that had like one bottle of water from the lodge,
Wow.
and that's an eight something mile hike up to the top of I think it's 8.5 miles to the top of the mountain, and then it's another mile down to Springer Park. And if someone's gonna, so that is literally 9.5 miles for a person to walk with a little liter bottle of water in these hot, and it's hot out, man. This is how people get hurt. And that day that you were down there was a hiker, and so I'm just guessing that this hiker hiked up from Amicalola and then pressed the button, and SARS had to come because they were dehydrated and overheated. I'm guessing that they came from Amicalola because if you walk past Springer Parking, you literally start to cross streams. Stover Creek and stuff is up in there. And so it's right down the trail, man. So they couldn't have come from the south because they had water. So they had to have come up from Amicalola, and they probably came up with nothing or a bottle of water, and then probably was dehydrated, overheated, probably didn't have the right shoes on, probably had slippers on or sandals or something, man. And I don't know, man. I'm saying Chacos, man. They have these sandals, dude, and they call them like the best sandals to hike in, and it's like, who's hiking in sandals, man? When I see that stuff, no one should be hiking in sandals. That's a good way to stub a foot, and then you have to be rescued, or anything can happen. But sandals are not the way to
remember
go.
smashing my toe in my oboes when we were hiking up by Standing Bear. The pain that I felt, and that's a good boot, and I probably would have broke my toe. That toe hurt for days after that.
With a sandal.
Yep.
But they spread these, they just keep people unprepared so they can sell their products, man. And, a lot of influencers do that too. So, they get their free products or whatever, man, and then they're just talking about that product, and then people come here unprepared, and then we have more issues. Like, it's just, we could keep going with the rescues. This is just like a little touch of it.
Right.
It's just over and over again. People are getting hurt and falling off cliffs, trying to grab a picture, trying to push themselves past their limits, man. And it needs to stop, man. Yeah, I just saw something on the trek, man, where once again the blind leading a blind person hike 1,000 miles, which is probably a couple months on trail, and now they're giving out information on how to hike or telling people how to hike, and it's like, man, this is the problem. You know what I mean, dude? There's no way that anyone has any balance yet with just 1,000 miles under your belt. And so, and I'm not putting it down.
No.
I'm not putting it down, but it's the blind leading the blind again. You know what I mean, dude? It's just...
I think we can all share our experiences, but I think each person, of course, is always an individual, and they can learn what to do, what not to do from any experience when they're speaking with someone. But I think we always need to remember that what works for us as each separate individual is always the best thing to do.
Sure. Exactly. And that kind of goes like, it just takes time. No, you're never going to do what the next guy does. But also at the same time, I don't think that people that have only been out here for a couple months should be leading anyone. They're not teachers. They're still students. You know what I mean, dude? And, I think that's where a lot of this stuff is going bad, man. They'll come, those new people being teachers, man, tell people that have never even been out here. Like, I see people, I'm living through you vicariously, and I'm going to come out and do that same thing. And it's like, don't do that. Don't, please, man. Follow the basic steps of hiking, man. You know what I mean? Don't. And each time you go out, you learn something new, but you're not a teacher because you've been out here for 2 months. Sorry, man. Anyways, that's enough of that. I hope everyone is listening to Mary and I about the LNT. The bears are really bad. I had Jess Bill here yesterday, and he's been up at the Gap. We're good friends. And so, we're talking yesterday, and I told him about, because the video I have of the bear up at the Gap up on the walkway up by the store, that actually came from Pep Talk. And so he works up there also. And so Jess, Bill, and I were talking about that video, and Bill told me that literally there are 3 bear that are just hanging out behind the store now, man. And so Neil Gap has literally had to put up, the people up there have had to put up signs everywhere telling people not to leave their food unattended out there. And so it is that bad out here, man. And so not only that, a couple weeks back, someone threw in the recycling garbage can that says recycling bin, they threw food in there. And, no one expected food to be in there, so it was left in there. Yes. And what happened was the bears found it and just tore it apart, man. And the workers or the employees had to pick that stuff up. And so... The bear are really bad this year. There were
are,
there were 10 between Low Gap and Blue Mountain Shelter. When we picked up the Blue Mountain Shelter SOS people before I left for my little thing, man, we had an SOS. I think it was last week on
It
Wednesday or
was last
something.
week at some point in time.
Yeah, it was
yes.
right before I left. And so, right before that, man, those people were meeting another group of people that were at Low Gap also having an issue with bear. There were 10 bears in total between that 6 mile stretch or 7 mile stretch, guys. 10 bears. And so while the people were getting worked over at Blue Mountain Shelter, these people were getting worked down by Low Gap Shelter. It is bad out here, man. Please, please be very careful. Hang your bags. Follow Leave No Trace this year. If we can, man, if there are people out there planning on doing some sort of trail magic down here or trail side feedings, gap feedings, please try to steer away from cooking stuff out here, man. Those odors are attracting the bears, and it's getting worse. I mean, this is the worst I've seen it, man. And our guy actually saw, he didn't see the 3 bears down at Springer Mountain down by there. I actually asked him last night, Scott. I was like, "Did you see any bears?" And he said that he spoke to 3 ladies that saw 3 bears. Didn't see the mother, but saw the 3 bears playing down in the water down there by Three Forks. So they did not see the mother, but they saw the 3 cubs.
Okay.
So he just left the trail yesterday. So he saw those ladies the day before or something, or that day, actually it was that morning. I apologize. And so it would have been yesterday morning that he spoke to the ladies because he was heading back to Amica. So it's out there, guys.
A lot of bear activity this year.
There's tons of it, man. Tons of it. And it's because we're not doing our part, man, to keep it clean and to be responsible. We all need to be responsible and just keep talking about it until it stops. Or we're not going to have a safe hike. We're going to have that in the back of our head. I don't even want to go camp right now, man, out here because of it. Nah, it's bad. And we want to go for a hike, but it's not possible right now. The bear are so bad. I'm not going to bother. I'll go hike. Of course, I'm going to have bear spray on me or something or a piece, but I'm not messing around with anything else. Nah, I'm not going to sleep out there, man. Forget that. Anyways, LNT, guys, please practice it. Otherwise than that, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Everybody have a great day.
All right. One love, kids. Peace. Thank you.